Last week it was an FA Cup tie, which, by your own admission, wasn't particularly exciting. A different end of the spectrum this week, a seven-side derby that really matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, I try to be. It wasn't that last week. It disappointed me, some of the press reports, because there were 5 changes, but 3 of them were injured. 2 hamstrings and an ankle. Whittingham didn't play. Hoylett didn't. Are you with me? One out with the African nations. And the only lad that I could have played was Ken Zahora, and he'd had 3 tough games. And I put Lambert in, which went to bad exchange. So when teams change 11 and win, it doesn't seem to get bothered, does it? Brighton made 11 changes and somebody else made 9 changes, but because they won the game, I felt a little bit peeved about that. But I knew it was going to be a weakened team. But I think this week, I think it's a great fixture. The first one I came to the club, the atmosphere was brilliant. They've finished the ground now at Bristol, which is a lovely ground now as well, and that generates a fabulous atmosphere as well. So you're looking forward to it, yeah.
And from your experience in your first game, how does the seven-side derby compare to the many derbies you've had?
I mean, I've had some derbies over my career, as you can imagine, and they're always a bit special. It's no good saying it's another game. It isn't another game. It's a derby, where everything's at stake, and we both realise how important the game is. Really, I think are we on the same points? I think we are. Yeah, I think we are. Yeah.
So aside from being a derby, it's a big game anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's one to look for. They've managed to get 3 decent signings in straight away, which we've not been able to do at the moment. We've took the utility lad Greg Alford in, but I didn't realise last week. I've got to apologise to Greg. I thought he'd only been out 3 weeks. I didn't realise he'd been out 2 months. So I think I expected a bit too much of him. I got the wrong information there, and no wonder he was shattered. Putting him into a game like that. So I did apologise to him. Just shows you we can get it wrong sometimes.
You talked about the injuries that you had last week. Have they cleared up for this week?
Most of them have. We've got a couple that's not trained really this week, so we're going to, it's not the right preparation when they've not done anything. But we'll know more today. I would imagine everybody wants to play. Whittington did some light training, and Zahor joined in again. Who was the others? Peltier did. He had a bit of an ankle problem, which he managed to play the last game with. Not Fulham, but one before. So more or less the training. One or 2 little bits, but I'm sure they'll all want to play.
Yeah, all in contention.
Yeah.
You mentioned Bristol City's new signings. Anything likely for you before tomorrow?
No, not at all. No, I'm hoping to. I'm going to meet Vincent on Sunday, hopefully, and I think I'm sure we'll be able to have a good chat about what I see. I've put forward some targets which we're trying to. We have made offers for players, and I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get 2 or 3 in. It's sometimes very difficult till the last minute. But we will be trying.
One of those, Johnny Hayes at Aberdeen, they've gone out and said that obviously they've turned a bid down from you. What's the score now as far as you're concerned? As they've said, they've turned the bid down, and that's as far as it's gone at the moment. We've made what we think is a realistic offer for him. Are you likely to go back in at all, do you think?
I've no idea at the moment. We have got, obviously you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. So we've got a number of offers on the table at the moment from clubs, and I would imagine over this weekend there'll be quite a lot more beginning to bubble, I would imagine, in the transfer market.
Another name you've been linked with, Chupa Akpom at Arsenal. Anything?
No, I don't think I could actually say his name properly, so I don't think I'll be signing him.
Okay. And as far as your own players are concerned, you said to me after the game on Sunday that you'd had offers for 2 of your players, which you'd turned down. Have those clubs come back in at all? Well,
I think it's a matter of, wheeling and dealing. I mean, I know there were some comments this morning in the papers about Lex Immers going, to my belief, we've paid nothing like what was quoted in one of the papers. I don't think we've paid anything, really. But with Lex going, it actually saved the club 7 figures, which is like a transfer fee, isn't it, really? So I think it was good business. I mean, the lad wanted to go nearer home. I think he's an hour and a quarter from home, just having had a baby. And so for him to give up that sort of contract, You know how close he wanted to be to home, and but I thought it was, in that situation, was a good bit of business for the club to save that sort of money.
And are you going to get that money to reinvest?
It's all in the pot, you know. It's all together. You know, we have to work and wheel and deal with ins and outs and what have you. So, when that became available, I just thought you can't really turn that down, really, because if he was stuck not in the first team for another year, it would be a waste of him and us, a waste of money as well.
Regarding those offers last week, is one of them for Bruno Manga?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Unless somebody's told, you know. Occasionally I do hear about offers that I have not heard of, but that not one I've heard about.
Have you had anything for him this month?
No, not at all. Not at the moment.
Does that almost surprise
I think there was
you?
I think, to be fair, I tell a lie. I think there was an MLS club making an inquiry for him at the moment. But the way I feel at the moment is I'm quite. I spoke to Bruno before he went, and I'm not really. If I can do business elsewhere to cover, you know, the ins and outs, then I'm quite happy to have Bruno back till the end of the season, and who knows, try and talk him into another contract.
So you've almost done an about turn on that one, then? You
Absolutely.
wanted to stay.
It's a matter of managing the money. Obviously, because he was the highest paid, it was an easy option to, you know. And to be fair, when I saw the videos of the games before I turned up, I wasn't really too disappointed about him going. But since he's been under my wing and listened to what I wanted to say, I think he's been very good. And I think he'd be a good asset to have till the end of the season. So I'm not in a rush there.
Peter Whittingham celebrated his 10th anniversary at the club on Wednesday. Anything moved along with his contract at all?
Well, we have had chats. The thing is, Ken Chew's been away all week, and I think he's away for another week. I have had talks with his representative, and I think we can't really say anything until something's agreed, really. But I don't think Peter wants to leave, and I don't think we're far away.
You getting closer, do you think?
I think so, yeah.
Andy Dibble as well, you've brought in this week. What can he bring to the table?
Well, he's enthusiastic, that is for sure. He's, Cardiff through and through. He's always, even when I was at Rotherham last year, he wouldn't shut up about Cardiff. So he's delighted to be here, and we just got to probably keep him calm a little bit. He gets, his beloved Cardiff. I think he's mothered down here and everybody, So it's lovely to have people like that want to be at the club. And he's a very, very good goalkeeping coach as well. He brought the best out of Campy last year, who saved us quite a lot of points. So it's good to have him on board, especially when, you lose somebody like Margesson, and it's good to be able to replace him straight away with somebody that you trust. And
last one from me. Very sad news yesterday about Graham Taylor. I'm sure someone you've come across many times throughout your career. Just your memories of him, really.
Yeah, one or two people asked me yesterday, but they just asked me after it happened, and I didn't want to speak then because I was quite. It was quite a shock to me, and they didn't come back to me. So this is the first time I've been able to talk about it. Graham, my memories of Graham is when I first met him. He was kicking hell out of me. He was a fullback and I was a winger. He was at Grimsby, and he used to say to me after he kicked me, "I've got to slow you down, pal." And then when I went past him, I used to say, "Yeah, that's why you're a kicker." And so we had some good rapport in the games there. And then when he started managing, and he eventually went to Watford, I remember early on in my career as a manager at Burton Albion, I took a lad called Richard Jobson to sign, and he'd only played for me for 8 weeks. He's university graduate. Or he wanted to go to university. His father was a headmaster and adamant he didn't want him to be a footballer. And he came down with us to see Graham Taylor, and we were in his office, his father and Richard, and with Graham. And I listened to Graham for an hour and a half telling Richard why you shouldn't want to become a professional footballer. I've never heard anything like it in my life. And I'm trying to get 25 grand for him for Burton Albion. And he's telling him all the pitfalls. And only 1% of this and that, and I'm thinking, does he want to sign him or what? But that was the type of bloke he was. He told the truth. He never fudged anything. He always said it was. And Richard ended up signing for him, even though his dad wanted him to go to university. And he made a very, very successful career, Richard. Lovely lad. And then over the years since then, I've still got a bitter taste in my mouth about the Sun's coverage with the turnip. I read this morning's papers. I thought, I bet they don't put turnip heads dead today. You know, it really disgusted me the way that they treated him for the England. And I've read quite a few papers this morning saying that you know, he forgave them all, and he was but when I spoke to him on his own, it was bitter, really. You know, he was devastated with that coverage, and that never left him. No matter what he said outwardly, he would never tell anybody it hurt him, but it hurt him remarkably. And even more so, the courage that he carried on and became what he is. Because I've never met a more gentleman than Graham. Whatever he did, he was always wanted to talk football. You know, you'd go in a room and it'd be some sort of a car attendant or something talking to you, and all of a sudden Graham would be talking tactics to a car attendant. He just couldn't shut up. And you know, like I say, when I was playing at Scunthorpe earlier in my career, his father was called Tom Taylor, and he was a journalist. And Tom used to cycle up the high street to do the press conference on a Friday, and he was a big lad, and we all used to laugh at him cycling up the high street. And you know, he used to tell us stories about Graham as well. And so it was a great, you know, they were a lovely family, and Rita, a lovely woman, and his kids. So it was a major blow, you know. I'm sure he'll be looking down at certain things, and I'm glad we're having a minute's silence tomorrow. I did an interview last night, I think it's going out tonight on Bristol TV, with another journalist which I admire, Richard Latham, and we were talking about when people pass away, and I just said, I hope the Bristol fans, when I pass away, will have a minute booing me, because it's not for quiet, it's not for silence, and it's not for applause. But I do feel that Bristol owe me at least a minute booing me. I think it would be a very appropriate send-off for me.